Welcome to episode 7 of Spark It Up Sports, the Penjamin episode.
The Penjimin, baby. Let's go.
This is your one-stop shop for all things football and all things marijuana.
I'm Big Steve.
And I'm Johnny.
Welcome to our 7th episode. We're at our home studio in Pacific Beach, California. We're currently in a heat wave. It's about 90 degrees outside, but we're staying cool inside.
Absolutely.
You know how it is.
AC's on. We ain't going outside right now.
No way. Not a chance. Keep it cold. Keep it crispy. We had an unbelievable week of football. We're back, baby. All three levels, high school, college, and NFL.
Great Thursday night game, an international game in Brazil that left a lot of fans surprised.
Man, what a game, baby. Fuck the Packers.
Absolutely. Full slate of college football this Saturday with some big upsets that will for sure shake up our top 25. And, of course, a legendary week 1 start to our NFL.
Man, I'm just so glad the NFL is back.
Absolutely.
Life's different with the NFL, and it's good.
Life is better with NFL in it.
Hell yeah. Here's the rundown for today. We're going to do an NFL Week 1 review. All the Bears, Raiders, we're going to dive deep into those, and then we're going to hit all the other games that we saw.
Absolutely.
Big plays, big players.
A lot of big games this week. A lot of surprises in those NFL games, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. A couple upsets, a couple teams that shouldn't have won. Then we're going to do an NCAA Week 2 review. Biggest upset of the year, I think, happened.
Down goes Notre Dame.
Man, love to see it. Love to see it.
We're going to have our world-famous blunt break.
Yeah, we got another slugger for you, 2-grammer. And we'll be doing the Penjamin all episode.
Absolutely. Keeping it straight with these Penjamins that we brought in. We've got a slugger that's Steve's been smoking on apples and bananas flavor.
Apples and bananas. It's tasty. It's got like the little globe on top, it looks like, with the concentrate in it.
I have these little USB devices, the Ambers, and they're pretty good too. They're pretty
Those kind of, they look like the jewels, right?
Yeah, the old jewels.
Yeah. The best thing about the Penjamins is you can't tell what's in them.
Absolutely.
So
These are great. Easy to carry around, and they're awesome.
Hell yeah. After the blunt break, we're going to be hitting the NCAA Week 3 preview. I still think we're waiting for the big games this year. It's Week 3, so a couple of cupcakes.
It is a rivalry week from what it looks like in the NCAA.
Yeah, a lot of big rivalry games. The way everything's shaken up with the conferences, it's good to see the rivalry games. There's still some intact.
Don't forget conference realignment, so a lot of those in-state rivalries are no longer in those same conferences, so they're meeting up in the early season.
And then finally, we're going to do a Week 2 preview of the NFL. We're going to dive into it. Bears have Texans Sunday night, so looking forward to that game. Might be game of the week. Some people are saying, I don't know. I don't know.
Let's jump on in. NFL Week 1 review. Game 1 of this week was Thursday night. Chiefs-Ravens. Final score, 27-20. The Chiefs were the winner in that. We hit it right on our Chiefs minus 3.
That's right. What did we pick? Chiefs minus 3?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was a hit.
And what? A hit by what? A toe?
They
a
won
toe out of bounds?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but how close was
Absolutely.
it? We won by a toe.
Only time having size 14 feet doesn't pay off.
All right. And what are they saying? Wear white shoes from now on.
Absolutely.
Don't wear black shoes ever again.
White. Couple stats from that game. Derrick Henry, 13 carries for 46 yards.
Yeah, definitely would have thought he was going to have more yards. I thought they were going to feature him a little more.
Because of his injury worries, they might not be giving him as many loads.
Oh, so he has like a run count pretty
Absolutely,
much. Like 10 a game count or something to get later in the season. Okay.
Lamar, 26 for 41, 273 yards. He was their leading rusher with 16 carries, 122 rush yards.
Yeah, with Derrick Henry, he should not be the leading rusher.
Absolutely. I mean, you now have a running back, Baltimore. Let's make sure.
Yeah, you have 2 running backs. No quarterback, 2 running backs.
Let's make sure we're using them a little bit better. He did throw 1 interception. Mahomes on the other side, 20 for 28, 291 yards, 1 touchdown and 1.
Yeah, I think the story of that game is Xavier Worthy.
Ooh,
like, how about
absolutely.
him? Rookie, went off, and I think with like Travis Kelce at tight end, like you got to guard him or Worthy. So you can't guard both of them. Today they guarded Kelce, which left Worthy open. I think Worthy being a rookie, they were like, all right, let's see if he actually can do it, and he can. Now you have to guard him, and you have to guard Kelce.
And I think using him in that offense adds a whole nother layer to that offense.
Yeah, Andy Reid's an offensive genius. He knows how to get players in the right place against certain defenses, and obviously it showed during that game how good of an offensive coach he is.
Game 2 of the NFL slate saw Packers-Eagles live from Brazil. It was the don't wear green game.
Don't wear green game. And, like, how terrible was that field? Oh, my gosh.
A couple injuries we saw that night. Was it due to the field? Was it due to a tackle by Jalen Carter? We don't know.
Jordan Love, he's out, what, 3 to 6 weeks?
MCL strain out 3 to 6 weeks.
Love to see it.
Saquon Barkley, you saw him run for the first time in Eagles colors, 24 carries, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns, unbelievable. Giants missing is the story of the week, not the story of that game, because Saquon was the story and he lived up to all his hype.
Jalen Hurts, 20 for 34, 278 yards, 2 throwing touchdowns, but he did have 2 interceptions. Not having Jason Kelce does look like it's affecting him on the field.
They had a delay a game because he didn't snap the ball. They also had a fumbled snap because he snapped it while Jalen Hurts wasn't looking. And then if you notice on the 4th and 1, the tush pushes.
Yep.
Not the same ball game with Jason Kelce out of there.
No. So next week, who do we think the Packers are going to be starting at quarterback? Looks like Malik Willis.
Yeah, they got Malik Willis a couple of weeks ago. They actually traded for him. So right now, Malik Willis is the guy. I do think you need to bring in another backup. Word on the street is like Tannenhill, because he's obviously, I think he's the best available backup to jump in on a team and like keep him going in the right direction and maybe win a game or two, you know? And he's out 3 to 6 weeks. So you want to win maybe 3 out of the 6 games with him gone. And I think Tannenhill can do that. And we'll see like what Malik Willis brings to the table. Titans-Bears. Storyline is how bad Caleb Williams is. But the Bears came away with a win.
Absolutely. 24-17 win. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and we also called that game Bears minus 4.5. And Caleb Williams under 0.5 turnovers, interceptions.
Absolutely, of course. Story of the game was Caleb Williams unproductive on offense. His offensive line did look a little bit shaky.
Yeah, his offensive line was abysmal at best. The Tennessee Titans D-line looked unbelievably good. Like, they were in the backfield all game. The first time Caleb Williams got sacked, it was like the big, he's like 400 pounds, like running at him. Caleb Williams had nowhere to go.
One of the big things I was picking up from this game is when Caleb Williams did try to make stuff happen with his feet, he did run into the problem that these defensive linemen are just as athletic as he was, and he was getting ran down pretty quickly.
We're not in the preseason anymore, which made me nervous. Like, preseason was awesome, but we're not in the preseason anymore, and the ones out there are ones for a reason. Yeah. Like, they're big, they're strong, they're fast, and they're just as fast as he is, which is a problem for him. I feel like he missed a lot of passes. Keenan Allen was open for a touchdown. There were other passes he missed too. So that's definitely something we need to work on. And in the preseason, his accuracy wasn't that good either. He was about probably 60%, I feel like, maybe even less in some games.
So a couple stats from this game. Caleb Williams was 14 for 29. 93 yards, did not throw a touchdown, but also did not throw a turnover.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is no turnovers. Because if we had any turnovers, we don't win the game.
DeAndre Swift, first time seeing him in Bears colors. What did we think of him?
I thought he looked good. He started the game out real good, had a few good runs. He also had one hurdle in the game, looked unbelievable. He caught a pass out of the backfield. He's on the up and up. I like him. I like what he can do. But, again, the offensive line is of concern, especially when you look at the running game.
Absolutely. Coming into the season, you guys thought that your offensive line looked to be one of the strongest points of this team.
We picked up guard Nate Davis, but he has not been good. He's been injury prone. So we also have Ryan Bates. That him and Nate Davis have been switching in and out that game, and you could tell the interior, like, neither of them played that well. Yeah. So I think you need to go with Bates, who's coming back from injury, and just have him out there the whole time.
Name of the game was defense for the Bears this week.
Yeah, defense, special teams. As a Bears fan, like, that's our MO, which obviously after Hard Knocks and preseason, it's like new age Bears, baby. We're offense, passing game is going to be unbelievable. And there I sit, down 17 in the first half. Everything has gone wrong. Everything I thought was going to happen this year is out the window. Out the window, like, we're fucked. I couldn't have gone any worse. So you know what I do? I go and I jump in the ocean. I wash all the bad juju off in the Pacific, and I go and I get ready for the second half. And there we are, baby. The Bears do what they do, and they play fucking defense and special teams, and we come back and we win by 7. Didn't take a single offensive touchdown, and we win the game by 7. Like, let's fucking go.
It was an unbelievable game. I mean,
unbelievable. You didn't even know we won. You weren't even paying attention. You're like,
I was on the way. Right. I was on the way to the Vegas Charger game, so I didn't get to watch all the game, but I did keep on checking in, and it did surprise me when the
unbelievable. Like, leave it after the first half. Like, there's not a chance in hell I thought we were going to win. It was abysmal. And at the end of the first half, Keenan Allen misses a touchdown. Tyreek Stevenson, interception return for a touchdown. Will Levis or Levi, still don't know how you say his name. It could go either way. But he's scrambling. He's almost getting sacked, and he just ditches the ball right into his hands. Pick six.
It was insane. That was one of the craziest things. From what I saw on the scoreboard, they were up 17-16 at this point in the fourth quarter with, I believe, 3 or 4 minutes left in the game. He could have taken the sack. He could have thrown it out of bounds, but he decides to just flick it up in the air.
See ya.
He would have won the game. I mean, it's
Jonathan Owens, welcome from the Packers. What a great debut for him.
Special teams blocked punt for a touchdown.
Let's move on to the Bears defense, which is the story of the game. TJ Edwards had 15 tackles, 10 solo, 2 TFLs. Darrell Taylor, 8 tackles, 7 solo, 2 sacks. So there was pressure all day on Will Levi. He had a few good runs, and there were a few open players, but as a whole, the Bears defense played unbelievable. The first half, they were on the field in terrible field position too, so they were playing a lot of snaps with no rest. And the second half, they got a little rest, and they didn't give up any points in the second half. So that was awesome to see. Jalen Johnson had an interception. I think he's the best cornerback in the league. Maybe Sauce Gardner gives him a run for his money.
Let's go on to the next game. Pats versus Bengals, probably the biggest upset of the week. 16-10 win for the Patriots.
Yeah, I don't think anybody saw this game coming. You had them in the Survivor, right? Bengals minus 2.5?
No, I actually had Houston and Indianapolis.
Oh, wrong game.
But Jared Mayo wins in his debut as head coach. Joe Burrow, historically bad weeks 1 and 2.
Like, he's like 1-8, I think, in the first 2 games of the season every year. But like this year, I was thinking he had played the preseason, so maybe this is the year he comes out and he's ready to go.
Apparently
T. Higgins didn't play with a hamstring injury, and it was Jamar Chase's like first game. He held out the whole, or he didn't practice. He didn't hold out, but he was a hold in. They called it. Yeah. But he didn't practice at all.
6 receptions for 62 yards for Jamar Chase. Not his best performance. He was wondering why he wasn't getting those targets downfield.
Upside of the day.
A lot of people, as we said before, had Patriots going 0-4 this year. Yeah. And there you go. They start the season off with a win. Cardinals versus Bills. Cardinals lost this game. Buffalo ends up coming back to win 34-28.
Yeah, Josh Allen played a great game. He had 2 rushing TDs and 2 passing TDs. So anytime you get 4 TDs out of your quarterback, you're usually in pretty good shape.
On the other side of the ball, Marvin Harrison, the rookie sensation, 1 reception for 4 yards.
He didn't do much. I also saw a highlight at I think it was the last drive of the game for the Cardinals where Marvin Harrison is wide open and Kyler Murray just doesn't seem to see him. We did see in the Cardinals-Buffalo game, we saw the first kickoff return for a touchdown by the Cardinals.
DJ Dallas becomes the first to return this dynamic kickoff for a touchdown.
Which, I mean, anytime you get a kickoff return for a touchdown, I love it. If we can get one a week, I think it's better than the situation we had before.
Absolutely. So. A lot of people out there are criticizing this new dynamic kickoff, and I think this game proved to the people that this dynamic kickoff is something that can be good for the NFL.
And the Bears had a 65-yarder, which I think played a big role in their comeback in the game.
Next game, Vikings versus the Giants.
Vikings, Giants, Sam Darnold, J.J. McCarthy out, and the Giants are trash.
Yeah, Daniel Jones does not look good.
Man, not look good. Pick 6, too.
Daniel Jones, 22 for 42, 186 yard, 1 TD, and 2 interceptions.
I saw something online where it was like Daniel Jones has more pick 6s since he signed his contract than he has touchdown passes.
That's insane.
It's like 3 pick 6s and 2 touchdown passes since he signed for $160 million.
That's not what you want to be hearing from
no garbage.
And how about those uniforms? Those Giant uniforms.
Who was worse, Daniel Jones at quarterback or how the Giants looked on the field in those fucking uniforms?
Absolutely.
Dude.
I didn't know it was hockey
garbage
season. They're looking like the Montreal Canadiens over there.
What was this, Quebec, dude?
Next game, Panthers versus Saints. This was probably the greatest offensive game of the weekend.
Yeah, highest scoring game of the weekend, 47 points. Derek Carr looking like an MVP. You got to hate to see that, I'm sure.
MVP, 2 years too late.
Right? If he was at the Raiders this weekend, it would have been a different ballgame.
Whole different ball game. Derek Carr, 19 for 23, 200 passing yards, and 3 touchdowns.
That's got to make you sick.
I mean,
Like,
it
absolutely
burns the whole,
sick, dude.
But
you see Gardner Minshew laterally throw that ball backwards?
we'll cover it later on when we get to that segment. But I'm one of the people that did from the beginning. I said DC MVP from the start. I said don't get rid of him and look at the situation.
Looking at it now and how hard it is to find a quarterback, like, I'm with you. They should never let him go.
No,
Was that Josh McDaniels' call?
That was a Josh McDaniels call. Bryce Young made his debut after getting injured last season.
The Panthers are garbage.
Yeah.
They are not good at all.
He did not look good. 13 for 30, 150 yards.
Yeah, he's not surrounded by any good players either. No. I couldn't even tell you.
His best receiver on that day was Xavier Legette, and
he's a rookie, so
So hopefully they fixed some things on that offensive side of the ball, but they did not look good, and defensively they couldn't stop Derek Carr.
Yeah, I mean, after this week, if I were any team in the NFL, I would want to play the Panthers. I think that's the worst team in the NFL right now, hands down.
It looks like a repeat of last year. The Panthers might end up with that number 1 pick that they gave to the Bears, but it looks like a repeat for sure.
Definitely a repeat.
Next game, Steelers versus Falcons. This game was unbelievable. 18-10.
18-10, 0 touchdowns for the Steelers.
6 field goals.
6 field goals.
Unbelievable.
Justin Fields, their quarterback.
Justin Fields named the starter after
Russell Wilson hurt calf
injury. Who knows when he's coming back? So Justin Fields looks like he's going to be the starter for the next few weeks.
Yeah, give me the more than 50% of the snaps. We're 1 game in, so what do we need? 7 more games, and we're getting a 4th rounder instead of a 6th. So stay in there, stay healthy, and let's go.
Kirk Cousins made his debut in that Atlanta uniform.
Yeah, and he looked rusty. He did have the Achilles injury, so there's reasons he looked rusty, but
2 interceptions. That's something that they got.
Yeah, that is not good. And with Penix, a top 10 quarterback in the NFL draft, there's already calls for him to come in and play.
This was something I was talking about earlier today. When do you decide to bench the $185 million man?
Week 4, if he goes 2 picks every game, you got to switch it out. Eventually, you got to make a move if he keeps playing like that.
Jaguars Dolphins. Story of the weekend. Tyreek arrested before the game.
On the way into the stadium, he gets handcuffed, pulling out of the car.
Slammed on the ground, told he's not playing a game.
Absolutely insane what transpired before this game.
But he pulled out of it. They let him go.
Yeah, they let him go. He made it to the game. And what's he do, dude?
Dolphins win 20-17. He scores an 80-yard touchdown.
80-yard touchdown.
Pulls off the handcuffed Selly.
Yeah, 80-yard touchdown, handcuffed Selly, 7 receptions, 130 yards. So, if anything, they motivated him before the game to go off.
Absolutely. And we'll see the fallback, what happens to Miami PD.
Yeah, the footage of the arrest just came out today, and it is not looking good for the Miami PD, or if it was the sheriff. I'm not exactly sure if it was the sheriff or who it was, but as far as I'm concerned, that video is insane, and the cop is power tripping. He is way out of bounds on what he did. And once he said, "You think this is a game?" It's not a fucking game, dude. You're a cop. That's not a fucking game. That's real fucking life, dude. That ain't a fucking game. So the cop thinks it's a game. So he's wrong. I think the video that came out is damning evidence against the cops in Florida. So I'm with Tyreek.
One of the things that I did see from this is Drew Rosenhaus, Tyreek Hill's agent, was actually behind them.
Oh, was he? I didn't see that.
So he was on the phone right away. So I'm pretty sure this isn't going to be. No, this isn't going to fly.
No way, because you saw. I saw the Drew Rosenhaus do an interview before the game, and he was all fired up about it. So
so it's not good.
And now that video is out, it's not looking good.
So back to that game, Jason Sanders game-winning field goal, 53-yard field goal as time expires for the Dolphin win.
Yeah, there were a few last-minute wins this weekend, which is always fun to see.
Absolutely. If you watch Red Zone, you're used to that witching hour that when you hit that fourth quarter turn of the game, and that's when we saw a lot of these scores twisting. I mean, especially in that Bears game, that all happened in that fourth quarter.
Even with you, it was a 3-point game.
It happens. That's the way the NFL is. Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of these games, players exert their first 1 through 3, and just makes one mistake in that fourth quarter to really pop it off. One of the most tightly contested games of the weekend was the Texans versus the Colts.
What a game that was. The final score to that game was 29-27. The Texans won.
Joe Mixon, his first time in a Texans uniform, 30 carries, 159 yards.
What a game he had coming from Cincinnati.
Absolutely.
He didn't skip a beat on a new team.
No, one of the things I was watching after this game is he did throw a little shade at that Cincinnati team, saying he was left behind, but he doesn't mind what the spot that he's in.
Yeah, I mean, Texans, a good team to be on right now. They're hot. They're playing well. They have a very good quarterback, so he's in a good situation.
Stephon Diggs, his first time in a Texans uniform, and he looked pretty good as well. 6 receptions, 33 yards, and 2 TDs.
That's a good game. Anytime you get 2 TDs, we were talking a couple weeks ago about his prima donna attitude and how he would be in Texas. But after game 1, you don't have to worry about that. If he gets 2 touchdowns every game, that's not going to be a problem.
That's not a problem.
What you got to worry about is a couple games down the road when he's not getting any touchdowns, is he going to be a problem?
Absolutely.
So it's all honky-dory now. Like, it's all gravy, but...
And this game saw Anthony Richardson for the first time after last year's terrible injury really shut him down.
The shoulder injury, right?
Yep.
Yeah, had the shoulder injury. He had a bomb. Obviously the best pass I've seen all year because it was week 1, but maybe even last year too.
It's a 60-yard bomb all in the
air. In the air, dude.
Receiver catches it in the end zone, so there's no yards after catch on that. It's all in the air.
And he trips.
Yeah.
He trips and then he just drops a 60-yard bomb.
Could have been a 6-yard loss or sack for a touchdown. Ends up being a 60-yard bomb the other way.
Unbelievable.
But
what a cannon he has. He had a couple good passes like that. He was a little inaccurate there, here and there, but first game back to see him play like that. I think Indianapolis looks promising. Their run game, their offensive line.
These Penjamins are really hitting right now. It's starting to get a little foggy. Broncos-Seahawks.
Seahawks won 26-20.
We saw Geno Smith versus Bo Nix in this game.
Yeah, Bo Nix, another rookie starting this year. He was 26 for 42, 138 yards, 2 interceptions, which you can't have those turnovers.
No, especially with a Sean Payton-led offense. That's not something he's looking to see.
No, turnovers, you're out. Geno Smith was, 18 for 25, 171 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception.
Kenneth Walker III, great running back they have in Seattle, 10 carries, 103 yards with 1
Yeah, he's been there for a few years. He's a very solid back.
One of the stories out of this game, Denver did have 2 safeties on their defensive side of the ball.
2 safeties?
Yeah.
Wow, I missed that.
Yeah. So look for the Denver defense to be strong. The Commanders versus the Buccaneers. Jaden McDaniels made his NFL debut.
He had a good game. He might have looked the best out of any rookies.
Final score in that game was 37-20, Buccaneer win. Baker Mayfield looked like he was the man in charge over there.
Right. Good on Baker Mayfield. 24 for 30, 289 yards, 4 TDs. He had 4 touchdown passes. Baker Mayfield.
What an insane stat. That's what a way to start week 1 in the NFL. Jaden McDaniels, 17 for 24, 184 yards. I think the key story out of this day was 16 carries, 88 yards, and 2 touchdowns rushing wide.
What an unreal game for a rookie. Maybe if their defense steps it up a little bit, it's a little closer of a game, and they're actually in it.
One of the things I was noticing is how much Jaden Daniels looks like RG3 out there.
No.
Yes. Every time he runs the ball, it's a very violent collision. And the helmet goes flying off. Body parts look like they're getting thrown around.
So he ain't going to last,
I just don't think he's going to last in this league. I mean, it looks every single time he gets tackled, that helmet flies off.
I think with quarterbacks like that, too, is they have 1 year to learn.
Yeah.
They're going to get hurt, and either they're going to learn next year or they're just going to get hurt every year.
That was one of the things I pointed out from this game is whoever their equipment manager and let's make sure you're strapping them in.
Strap it up. Get the air in there.
I don't want to see him get hurt that early. I think he's going to be a good QB to sit down the road, and I want to see him every week in the NFL.
Browns versus Cowboys. Dak Prescott got paid 4-year $240.
Yep.
I think was the deal.
That's a lot of money.
I don't remember how much is guaranteed.
But
a lot
that's
of fucking
lot of money.
Hell yeah.
My surprise in this game was why they announced that at the very start of the game.
Honestly, I think the timing was perfect.
Really?
I think
you like the timing of game day contract signings?
I think if you're signing for that kind of contract, I think it's a celebration. I think the timing's good for that because the stress of the contract's gone. Now he just goes out and fucking plays, dude. He's paid. He's got $200 million. No matter if he plays good or bad, that's not a fucking worry. You just go out and play now.
And he did. He performed 19 for 32, 179 yards, 1 touchdown.
Yeah, after that game, looks like a great deal, great contract, because in 3 years, those contracts are going to be twice as much. So.
Jerry Jones looking like a genius once again.
Yeah, we'll see what happens 4 or 5 games down the road.
They pulled off a big win against those Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson, once again, did not look good. 24 for 45 yards, 169 passing yards, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions, and it looks like he picked up another civil suit.
Yeah, was that number 24? I think it's
24, 25.
24, 25?
Really
yeah, they're really stacking up against him, and he's not good at quarterback. So I feel like Cleveland's got to make a move here by the end of the year. He's got to go.
Now down to the important game. Raiders versus Chargers. A real tough game. I was sparking up.
Oh, shit.
Perfect
hey,
timing for
you're
the
going to
bump
need
break.
this for this next
Absolutely.
segment.
Let's go ahead and bust it out.
Yeah.
All right. You heard the spark it up there. It's time to spark it up on this blunt
Let's
break.
go. 2 gram Sluggers blunt.
This one is a new flavor. Watermelon Skittles. Ooh. Let's look at this flavor wheel. Fruity. Gassy. Sweetie.
Straight gas again?
Straight
Love
gassy,
it.
and a little bit of city. Does taste fruity like some Skittles. So not only are we testing out all those Penjamins today, but we not only are we smoking the blunt today, but like we mentioned at the start of this episode, we are here for the Penjamins.
The Penjamin episode.
Let's talk a little bit about these pens and how far they've come. From cartridges and having to screw them in, having a long magic wand sitting in your
All
pocket.
right.
Whenever you would
Like,
sit
if you sat down, that shit would snap.
absolutely,
Dude.
you'd
Oh,
end
my
up
God.
with wax all over your pockets.
Dude, the amount of cartridges I have broken and not smoked is
Unbelievable.
insane.
And it's definitely come a long way. I mean, now you have these little 0.5 gram, 1 gram USB devices that are fully disposable.
They're just ready to smoke.
the
You
Juul
open
pens.
the package and you just fucking smoke them.
Yeah, has a little charger port on the bottom if it does run out, and that way you can use it up all the way to the very end. And then all you do is just throw it away and go ahead and grab another one.
On to the next one.
Um,
They're hands down the most convenient way to smoke, the easiest way to smoke, and the best way to smoke without drawing attention to yourself.
Absolutely. One of the best ways to smoke out in public, I believe.
You can smoke these things fucking anywhere.
Anywhere. We have this slugger.
Planes, trains, automobiles, you name it. Just don't get caught.
Stadiums. These are actually the best for stadium use.
Hey, were you hitting the Penjamin Sunday or what?
I was hitting the Penjamin. Hey, you needed the Penjamin to get to
Yeah,
that.
you and the other 70,000 people in that place.
Hey, but how loud was that stadium? That was something awesome to see. That was one of the reels we took, and it was
Yeah, it looked awesome. It looked like it was the Raiders' house, which,
Absolutely.
what was it, 70% Raiders? Or what do you think the percentage of Raiders fans was there?
The Vivid Seats number was 65% Raiders fans, which is an awesome number to have.
Great number.
That stadium is huge. You wouldn't believe the lines, concessions, bathrooms. It takes forever in there, and that's one of my complaints is that stadium it feels a little bit too big for its own good.
I actually haven't been to that stadium. It looks awesome from TV.
This week we're trying out this Sluggers 2 gram Penjamin. All right, these are a little bit different than the old school ones. All the wax is loaded up on the front. I actually like this.
Was that like the globe or on top of that? What is that?
I like it. It fits in the palm of your hand. It's very easy.
I mean,
to
that's
smoke.
what I've been hitting this episode. It's unbelievable.
The taste
Tastes
is
good,
fantastic.
yeah.
Banana, you can really taste the banana. They're cheap now, and I think it's one of the best ways for camouflage cannabis smoking.
Camouflage?
Exactly.
What'd you say?
Camouflage.
You're just fucking making words up, dude.
No. Listen to this. Camouflage cannabis smoking. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're trying to hide it?
Camouflage cannabis smoking. We just created a new fucking word here on Spark It Up Sports.
Dude.
You guys are here for it. We
Heard it
just
here
created
first.
a new word.
The best camouflage out there are the Penjamins.
It's the Penjamin.
Penjamins.
Penjamin. Best camouflage cannabis
What do they say?
device.
Hit a couple blinkers on the Penjamin, get you all fucked up. Hit a blinker, dude. Hit a blinker.
That was real good Penjamin talk. Lots of good talk there. Raiders versus Chargers, of course. Spark It Up Sports was on location at this game. It was a tough game to watch. Defensively, on the defensive side of the ball, we looked amazing. Max Crosby was pumping. Christian Wilkins was pumping.
Yeah, defense looked great.
AP had the boys buzzing.
Yeah, oh yeah, they were ready to go.
Offensive side of the ball was a different story. Gardner Minshew, 25 for 33, 257 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Terrible highlight of the night was a bad pump fake. He lost the ball.
Oh my!
Turns into Charger points.
I couldn't believe it.
It was bad.
I couldn't believe it.
I was sitting on the club level of the stadium, and so I had a good aerial overview to look at this. And there's nobody out on the flat, so I don't know who he's pump faking to.
Nobody.
The running back was literally right next to him.
He threw it straight into the ground.
I thought up to that point they had called such a perfectly managed game.
Oh yeah, they probably called the right play there. He just fucked it up.
And he just absolutely. So that was one of the things that I feel the Raiders didn't play that all of a terrible game there. I mean,
no, not at all. They were right in it the whole game, and you give someone 7. I mean, it's literally what the Bears did, but opposite.
But the opposite.
Yeah.
And it's 2 turnovers that really cost them the game. J.K. Dobbins, 10 carries, 135 yards, 1 TD. It looks like to be the resurgence of his career as a child.
It's weird to see an Ohio State guy playing for Harbaugh.
For a Michigan guy, and he mentions it after the game. Don't talk about the Ohio State in the locker room, but it's a good thing they're on the same team.
Yeah,
now,
right.
You know. Max Crosby did have 2 sacks. He was covered the majority of the game by Joe Alt.
So that's hey, welcome to the NFL moment for Joe Alt. Huh?
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the keys for this is that Max Crosby really proved the point there.
Yeah, I mean, he's a stud, a top 3 defensive end in the league. I think other people on his level, maybe the Bosa brothers, maybe 1 or 2 other guys, but Crosby's up there. He might be the best one.
Alexander Madison looks to have his resurgence in a Raider uniform. He had a 20-yard reception and a hurdle over a Charger for a Raider touchdown.
Love a good hurdle.
2024, year of the hurdle.
Oh, yeah. DeAndre Swift had one for the Bears, too. Great to see it.
I saw it a lot of games across the weekend. It looks to be 2024, the year of the hurdle.
I think Raiders-Chargers game, the biggest play for me in that game was the 4th and 1 the Raiders had. And was the fourth quarter?
Yes, it was the
fourth and 1 from the 43. AP decides to punt the game. And after that, the game wasn't the same after that.
This was a huge topic of discussion across a lot of Raiders topic boards.
Yeah, every platform was a huge discussion.
Do you go for it on 4th and 1 when you failed to execute on 4th and 1 earlier in the game?
Right. I think you go for it. I think in that situation,
at that certain point, the game didn't lie in the balance. There was still 8 minutes, I believe, 8 or 11 minutes on the clock.
No, I mean,
there was a lot of time.
Obviously, hindsight's always 20/20. You can go either way with it, but I think this day and age and the analytics with football nowadays, like 80-90% of the time, you're going for that. And AP's a defensive coach, like he's defensive minded, and I think that
that's why
is where that came from. I understand that, but I think as the analytics and everything else goes, you got to go for 1 yard. You get the 1 yard, and then, you don't give the ball to them, give them a chance.
At the same time, if he went on it for that 4th and 1, we're sitting here criticizing him for going for it on that 4th and 1.
Yeah, your defense plays awesome. Why would you go for it?
So it's tough. Yeah. That's one of the things that comes down to it's hard to be a coach in the NFL. And AP is lucky.
Yeah, you make a couple wrong plays, and, your career's over as a head coach. This blunt is fucking fire.
Real good. It tastes fantastic too.
Tastes fantastic. Still burning.
Yeah, thank you, Sluggers,
for
putting out great products
crushed
out
it
there.
Again.
You guys crushed it with these
vape,
Penjamins 2 grammars. You guys are crushing it with those little guys, the little 1 inch or 1 grammers. And then these 2 gram
That's what she
blunts.
said.
And then these 2 grammars are just fire.
Yeah, those things are awesome. They get you where you want to be. Tastes good. Glass tip. I love the glass tip. Glass tip's a game changer for me.
So that Raider defense, as we were talking about earlier, it did hold for 3.5 quarters.
The offense, I feel is what we thought it would be.
And I think Gardner Minshew, even though he made that one mistake, those 2 mistakes.
He didn't play bad, though.
He didn't play terrible. And honestly, up till that, he managed a great game.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams didn't have the productivity he looks, but he did have 5-6 receptions. Look, that's a perfect building block for him. I mean, 5-6 this week, 7-8 next week.
Just can't have the turnovers.
Just can't have the turnovers.
That's the key, especially when you're a defensive-minded team. Can't have the turnovers.
One of the highlights from this game was a Joshua Palmer versus Jack Jones fight in the 4th quarter that did lead to both of them getting ejected. Max Crosby does come in here. He cleans Quentin Johnson off the top of a pile, Quentin Johnson
It
comes
was an
up
absolute shit show out there.
and tries to throw a
Absolute
little
shit
slap
show.
at him.
Bodies everywhere.
Bodies everywhere, not just
Yeah.
on the field, also in the stands. Lots
Oh
of
man, I
fights.
think I saw 5 different fight videos from the stands, like 4 knockouts. I didn't even know who was a fan of what team. Like Raiders fans were like with Chargers fans fighting other Raiders fans, but their friends were Chargers fans. Like, made no sense. It was just fucking fight night at SoFi.
I don't know why I just remember this. I forgot to tell you guys about this, but when this happened, all right, so I'm sitting on the second level, right on the corner of the end zone, so I got a great view of like where it happened because it happened right below me.
Oh, all right.
All
Yeah,
right,
so you
so
got a bird's eye view of this.
The 100 level has a little deck that like kind of overlooks it. So someone on the 3rd or 4th level threw a drink down and nailed the fan in the side of the face. I had a perfect view for this. I don't know how I forgot to tell you guys about this. Smoked him. It had to have come for 3 or 4 levels up, which is insane. What accuracy.
Bombs away, dude.
And just nails him. The guy's just looking around like, where did that come from?
What do you think, Raiders fan or Chargers fan?
That threw it? Charger fan.
No way.
I swear to God.
No way. No way.
It hit a Raider fan.
Not on purpose. It's from the 500 level. They're trying to hit.
It was a Charger fan.
Not a chance.
But incredible throw. Incredible reception.
Smoked him.
By his face. It's historic from the Oakland Coliseum to the San Diego Chargers to the Las Vegas Stadium
Fight
to
night,
SoFi.
baby.
All right, another legendary fight and another one for the record books. Rams versus Lions, that Sunday night game.
Stafford returned to Detroit. Goff playing his old team. Great script. Love
26-20 win for the Detroit Lions.
They played well. The way they won the game in overtime was so impressive. Yeah. They literally ran the ball down their fucking throat.
David Montgomery, game-winning
touchdown. Man, I hate to see it. I know. He played a hell of a game. He was unstoppable in that overtime.
Absolutely.
And they literally just demoralized the Rams. Rams called timeout with like whatever time left to like try one last stand, and they couldn't stop them at all. And then overtime, the only way like you can hit a walk-off is by scoring a touchdown. Yep. If you have the ball first, you score a touchdown. That's it, game over. And the way Detroit did that was unbelievable. I hate to fucking see it as a Bears fan.
They put together a perfect
drive.
It
was unreal. I get props where props are due. I fucking hate it.
80-yard drive to cap that one off. A couple stats from that game. Jacket off, Jared Goff. 18 for 28, 217 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Matthew Stafford on the other side, 34 for 49, 317 yards, 1 TD, and 1 INT as well.
At the end of the game, he almost threw a pick. I was like, Stafford's going to Stafford, and he almost did. They dropped the pick.
One of the big things coming out of this game was Puka Nacua, the Rams star receiver, did pick up a knee injury in this game.
Yeah, he came out today how many weeks he's out for, but I don't remember what it was.
I think they put him on the IR, so I think it's
at least 4 weeks.
At least 4 weeks,
yeah,
absolutely.
Minimum 4 weeks.
So that's tough to see, especially
he's a huge part of their offense.
For him. Tonight's game, Jets versus 49ers, 32-19 dominant win for those San Francisco 49ers.
They looked good. They were missing arguably their best player, Christian McCaffrey, and they didn't skip a beat at all.
Rodgers' return, spoiled by a real good 49er defense.
Rodgers played a good game, but he looks old as fuck out there. Like
the ghost of Rodgers.
Yeah, he looks like a ghost out there playing fucking quarterback.
13 for 21, 167 yards, 1 TD, and 1 INT. They did fumble that ball on the fourth play of the game. The same play that he did injure himself last year.
The cursed fourth play. I can't wait to see what happens the fourth play next year.
Highlight of the night was the Jordan Mason, the running back that took the spot for Christian McCaffrey, injured thigh. 28 carries, 147 yards, 1 TD. Where did he come from?
Damn, 147. I feel like the offensive line played unreal.
Oh, absolutely.
He was getting to like the second level and no one touched. Shanahan, always a great play caller. Called the right plays tonight again. Got him in the right position.
Yep. San Francisco definitely looks like the team to beat in the NFC. College football, week 2. We had a lot of interesting games this week. Friday night, Northwestern, their game on the lake.
Yeah, their home game on the lake. They ended up losing on a last-minute kick to Duke.
Ohio State versus Western Michigan.
Yeah, Western Michigan got absolutely smoked. I watched the first quarter, and it was not good. I feel bad for the boys at Western Michigan. You go Big Ten teams back-to-back weeks. That's not easy. Both road games. So, I mean, the school probably made $2.5 million these 2 weeks. So that's always good for the program. But at what expense do you play those games? Next week, hopefully we got a better matchup. So
absolutely, a little
look
bit
a
of
little
a
more
cupcake
promising.
game looking for
Yeah.
you guys. So a little better matchup. And then now on to the biggest game of the NCAA weekend: Texas versus Michigan. 31-12 win for Texas.
Yeah, at Michigan, too. Texas went in there and just absolutely dominated.
Quinn Ewers, 3 passing TDs.
I mean, I'd love to see Arch in there, but Quinn's all right in the time being.
Texas moves to the number 2 spot in the AP poll.
I mean, I still like Ohio State number 2. I don't know if Texas jumps them because they beat Michigan. I don't think Michigan's that good. Obviously, they were good last year, but with the turnover they had and the allegations and scandals or whatever you want to call them, like, there's
Michigan
no
was
cheating
already
going
a
on
beat-up
this year.
team,
Like,
and they got beat up.
They got beat up bad.
Yeah. Georgia Tech for Syracuse, that was an upset.
Oh, man, Georgia Tech was hot, dude.
Right?
I like Georgia Tech at Syracuse, and they just couldn't pull it out.
No.
Damn, they even got
25.
the onside kick. Did you see them get that onside kick in that game? They still.
yeah.
I thought they once they got the onside kick, I'm like, they're a team of destiny this year, and it just didn't happen for them.
One of the rivalry games we had this week was Iowa versus Iowa State.
Oh man, Iowa came out hot. They were up big, and then not big because you just can't be up big in the Iowa game because there's just not that
great
many
offensive
points.
team.
So, but they were up. So you think if Iowa gets up 7, you think they're winning,
Yeah.
and that didn't happen. So.
Iowa State did have a 54-yard field goal as time expires to win that game. Biggest upset of the weekend: Notre Dame versus NIU.
Notre Dame goes down to the MAC, baby. Maction, let's go.
Notre Dame looked to be the biggest pretenders of this top 25.
Man, honestly, it's 3 days later, 2 days, and I still can't believe they lost to NIU.
No.
After one of the biggest wins they've had in recent memory on the road at Texas A&M, to come home and lay an egg like that against Northern Illinois is just unfathomable at this point.
It's hard. This is one of those games where Notre Dame did pay the school $1.3 million to come on campus and
paid for a loss.
Lose.
Just a devastating loss too. I don't know if I've seen Notre Dame lose some big games, but to lose to a team like that at home in such a hyped up year, unbelievable. I do think though there is a slight chance if they run the tables the rest of the year, they still get in the playoffs. Because it is 12 teams, and it happened second week of the season, so I think people are a lot more likely to forget the second week of the season than the second week into the end of the season.
I just don't think Notre Dame's that good of a team,
I'm saying
and I don't think that's going to be their only.
And they have to win out.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be their only loss.
They're definitely going to lose other teams if they're losing to NIU because they have a pretty tough schedule. So
Colorado versus Nebraska. Great game.
Oh, man. Colorado pretenders.
Nebraska, Matt Rule-led team. Awesome. They look
awesome. They look really good. They got Mini Mahomey. He went off.
Dylan Raiola, 23 for 30, 185 yards, 1 passing TD.
Yeah, and they were hyped at Nebraska. You see all the red at that stadium?
Absolutely.
Oh, my gosh.
The big red machine.
Yeah, when I played at Western, we played against Nebraska.
Yeah.
At Nebraska, they weren't nearly as hyped up as they are now, but still, the fandom they had when I was playing against them was unbelievable, and there was red everywhere there, too. Nebraska absolutely dominated up front in this game, and I think that's been the big problem with Colorado last year and going on to this year. They did not fix the offensive line.
Oregon versus Boise State.
Boise took it down to the very end. Their running back, his name, I don't remember his name right now, but he had another 200-yard rushing game.
Well, it was 34-34. Teams were going back and forth, and Oregon had to hit a walk-off game winner as time expires.
I mean, if Boise State pulls that off, that would have been I don't know if a shocker because Boise's good, but it would have really twisted things up in the top 25.
And that would have seen a chance for the Mountain West to sneak in there, but now it's going to make it a little bit tougher for them on all sides of the ball.
Right.
Now let's get into that SDSU versus Oregon State game. 21-0. Tough game for SDSU.
You were on location for that one, too, right?
I was on location for that one. It was a great sight. A lot of Oregon State fans were there. A lot of Aztec fans pumped up about this offense, but unfortunately, Danny O'Neal did not look good. 11 for 24, 107 yards. He did look like a freshman out there.
Yeah, he had that big turnover when they were going in to score. I think that hurt him, kind of changed momentum on him. Because if I do recall, Oregon State went down to score after that.
Absolutely. That did change the tide of the game. It was a 1-yard quarterback draw that he decided to take himself, and he loses it at the goal line. That was tough. The Aztec defense did play well, though. Same with just like the Raiders, they held for 3.5 quarters, and up until that fourth quarter, they really let them go.
Yeah, I mean, San Diego State, the name of the game for them has always been defense. And the defense showed up again today against a Pac-12 opponent, Oregon State.
That's one of the things that this Aztec offense needs to do is they need to do their job on the field to make sure that this defense stays off the field, stay rested up, keep their time minimized. And once again, too many penalties. It's hard to get a big play on offense and then get a holding call that brings you back.
Drive killers, dude. Those are drive killers.
Next week, you're going to see them in another ghost of the Pac-12 matchup against Cal.
At Cal, right?
Yeah. College football Week 3 preview.
There's some good games, but I'm waiting for like a full day of top 25 matchup.
It does look to be like there's a lot of rivalry games on
this
week.
I feel like this is rivalry week. I think there's usually one at the end of the year. This might be like more of a non-conference rivalry week, like Notre Dame, Purdue, Colorado State.
Like we mentioned earlier, there was a conference realignment earlier this year, so a lot of these teams are no longer in the same conference.
Right, because I think like Washington State play each other, no longer in the same conference
They have to sign contracts preseason to set these rivalry games up to make sure that they continue on going. So, that's why a lot of these games are getting snuck in here real early in the season.
One of the best games of the day is going to have to be Bama versus Wisconsin.
Ooh, Bama minus 16. I like that one. I think that's going to be one of my
I
picks.
actually think Bama's going to cover that.
Absolutely. I think they dominated.
Western played Wisconsin, and they gave them a run for their money. I think Bama has better athletes, bigger, faster, stronger. So.
Kellen DeBoer. Looks like they're going to pump them. Arizona versus Kansas State. Arizona looks to be a really good team. Kansas State looks to be a really good Big 12 team. Kansas State.
Big 12 matchup.
Big 12 matchup. Kansas State minus 7. I like that one. LSU versus South Carolina. LSU minus 7. This was one of my picks. I think LSU and Brian Kelly finally turn it on in this one.
If they don't, I feel bad for those players. Dude.
Oh, absolutely.
He's got to be running.
He
did that kicker, dude. What is wrong with that man?
Brian Kelly.
That poor kicker, dude. Nightmare. What a fucking idiot. You fucking yell at players like that for missing a kick? Like, you're a fucking idiot, Brian Kelly. Like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Brian Kelly.
God, damn, his face gets so fucking red, too. Like, what's wrong with you, dude? Fucking hitting tables like you're like a fucking child, dude. Grow the fuck up, Brian Kelly. Bitch ass, dude.
Lots of hate for Brian Kelly.
Those fucking poor players. Could you imagine playing for him?
Oh, terrible.
Would you want to play for that fucking guy?
No.
Like, what a fucking idiot, dude. You talk to people like that?
No, not good.
Like, what the fuck? Yeah, he wonder why their team sucks because their leader fucking sucks.
Notre Dame versus Purdue. My pick on this was Purdue plus 11.5.
After what I saw last week, I love Purdue plus 11.5.
I don't trust Notre Dame at all.
Yeah, growing up, this was my rivalry game. I watch this game every year. Being a Purdue fan growing up, that's where my Notre Dame hate comes from. But, like, this is my rivalry game growing up, Purdue, Notre Dame, football-wise.
Oregon versus Oregon State, in-state rivalry in Oregon over there. Oregon State plus 16.5. First two games, Oregon did not look impressive, so I think Oregon State can actually give you
cover that spread.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oregon might come out ready to play after what happened to them against Boise, but like you said, Oregon State, I think, is a tougher team.
Oregon State plus 16.5 is going to be our pick there. Washington State versus Washington, another Pac-12 rivalry. Former Pac-12 rivalry that no longer exists. Washington minus 4.5, I think is the call here.
Pac-12 Big Ten matchup.
Colorado versus Colorado State. This is another rivalry, in-state rivalry. Colorado minus 7.5.
I think they're only like 45 miles apart, so I'm sure they're all familiar with each other.
This game went down to the wire last year.
That might have been the best game of the year.
It was.
It was like the second game of the year, I think.
Colorado minus 7.5. I do think they have a little bit better of a team this year, so I think they can pull off a win. SDSU versus Cal. SDSU plus 18, I think, is the call here. I think if Cal wins, I think it's only a single score victory. Over under 50.5 in that game. I do think both teams are going to be putting up points.
No, stop it. What?
Heard it here first.
No.
Heard it here
You're going
first.
over 50.5 points for a San Diego State football game.
I think they're both putting up points.
Stop, dude.
Cal doesn't have that great.
Call of the year right here. If this comes true.
Call of the year right
$50 here. Side bet this doesn't happen.
Call of the year right
50
here.
50.5 over. That's insane.
So on to our next game, Western Michigan versus Bethune.
Yeah, I think it's Bethune. I don't even know how the fuck to say it. I love the game, though, like a get-right game before we head off into the conference play.
I couldn't find a line on this game. It does look to be a cupcake game. So
yeah, love to see it. The cupcakes turn cupcake now, I guess. I don't know how you want to say it, but it's our turn to win. So
there it is, Western Michigan getting their first win of the year.
Moneyline plus 8,000.
Take it. College football playoff predictions.
Playoff predictions. There was movement.
There was a lot of movement. So this is our Spark It Up Sports version. So Georgia, Ohio State, Miami, Utah, Texas.
The top four stayed the same. There was no movement in the top four. They all won their games handily. I think it stays that same way. I think those are going to be the top-ranked conference championships to come out of this season still.
One of the things we did see for Utah was their quarterback did go down.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops.
So Cam Rising did get hurt in this game. One of the things I did see from that.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Was the Mormon sensation, Zach Wilson. His younger brother is the new quarterback for Utah.
No, Zach Wilson's younger brother is the quarterback for Utah?
Yes.
Hopefully we see more of his mom.
Absolutely. Another new QB in Utah, and let's see if they can keep up their momentum towards a top 4 finish.
Michigan out of the top 12. Texas moves up to 5. Oregon, Tennessee both moved up.
Oklahoma State, Penn State, Alabama, USC, and Northern Illinois rounding out our top 12. NFL Week 2 preview. This brings back the Amazon Thursday Prime game.
Yeah, we're back on the Prime Video.
Oh, yeah.
Kirk Herbstreit has the call on that one.
Jason Kelsey, a couple other NFL stars that we'll see on that broadcast as well.
This week we got Bills versus Dolphins. We'll see how Tyreek's doing after his arrest. Well, not arrest, but his holdup or whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call that. He might be getting paid after all this.
Right.
Bills versus Dolphins. I think we're going to go with a Dolphins minus 2.5 call here.
I like Dolphins minus 2.5 at home. The only thing is hopefully Tyreek gets arrested again and we get another 130 yards and touchdown out of him.
Sunday slate. Raiders playing a 10 a.m. game this week against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore.
That's a tough game for the Raiders.
Game. All right, I like the spread here. Las Vegas plus 9.5. I think that's a lot of points. You might even buy that extra half point just to give you the double digit. Give it a Las Vegas plus 10. Gardner needs to take care of the ball. That's the key there. Make sure you got a QB spy on defense on Lamar every single time. Make sure he's not running all over the place.
Yeah, I think the one thing to note on this game is it's West Coast going to a 10 a.m. game, and they are historically bad when they go to the East Coast to play a 10 a.m. game.
Keep Derrick Henry under control, and I think this defense plays well enough that they could keep Lamar and Derrick Henry both under control.
Yeah, your front four is good enough to give them a run for their money. So.
A couple of the other games we picked out, Saints versus Cowboys. I like the Saints plus 6.5 in this game. Lions versus Bucks. Detroit minus 6.5 or Bucks plus 6.5.
I got to go Bucks plus 6.5.
Bucks plus 6.5.
Baker Mayfield can come out and have a decent game like he did last game. It'll be hard to beat in Tampa Bay.
If he comes out with another performance like that, he might embarrass this Lions D.
Sunday night game, we got the Bears versus Texans. Caleb Williams bounce back game, hopefully. We know the defense is going to show up to play. They're playing a tough team in the Houston Texans with C.J. Stroud as their quarterback. They got Tank Dell at receiver, Nico Kellins, Joe Mixon. Their defense is stacked. And it's prime time, so you're giving the people what they want.
Prime time. 5 p.m. kickoff. We'll be watching.
Oh, yeah.
You just need better accuracy out of Caleb Williams. Make sure he's on target.
I mean, I think that's the key for him. The thing we need to see him improve on the most from week 1 to week 2 after that performance is his accuracy.
Yeah, he's a stud QB, and I think he can put things together. I think it's just going to take a little.
Yeah, and he is a rookie at the end of the day. So if he can just build after that and continue with the no turnovers or interceptions, I think he might be all right.
Monday night's going to have another real good game. Falcons versus the Eagles. I like Philadelphia minus 6.5.
After what I saw from the Eagles in Brazil, I also like the Eagles minus 6.5. The way their run game and their pass game is, and their defense played well too. So I like them against the Falcons.
Absolutely.
I don't think Kirk Cousins really has it yet.
I don't think so. I think that not playing in the preseason really affected him.
Yeah, especially coming back from the Achilles. So
And I think that whole offense is just didn't look real in sync. And I think it's going to take, like we said, a few weeks. But how many weeks is too many weeks before they start calling for Penix?
Yeah, and I think from week 1 to week 2 might be the biggest jump for some NFL teams because you learn a lot about yourself in week 1, and where you go from there determines the rest of your year.
I think that's all we got for this week. Like we said, this was the Penjamin episode, so we had all types of pens we were hitting this whole time. We got the Slugger, we got the Amber, we got the old school choice cartridges, and there's so many cartridges out there. Like we said earlier, I think these are the best ways for camouflage, cannabis consuming.
Get yourself a pen, hit them when you want, where you want, have a better day.
Blink,
that
two
easy.
blink, one puff might change your day. You never
That's
know.
it.
Hit that like button, subscribe, follow
Yeah,
us
like,
on Facebook,
subscribe.
Instagram, YouTube,
Yep.
Twitter, all of the above. You see us out there, hit us up for one of these stickers.
Yeah, we got some new stickers. You're going to be start seeing around the beach. So.
Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, yeah, go Bears.
Go Raiders. Roll State.